Welcome in, everybody, to another weekly SNHU esports broadcast here. Today, we're going to be bringing you the FACEIT Valorant Collegiate Contenders division. We haven't been able to see every single game in this one, but we're catching into the middle of the season. Now we have the ability to bring you it. Now, something might be new here. I don't know if you've noticed, our faces are new, but our voices hopefully should be familiar. I am Kresnik, your SNHU esports commentator, joined by, again, so glad he's with me because he was a godsend last time, Valorant coach Suton, to help me break down this best of one and help you guys get to watch our SNHU esports Valorant team play.
Of course, always happy to help.
Yeah, and I loved casting with you last time. Hopefully we'll have I don't know how this could possibly live up to last time, honestly, but looking at the standings here for the FACEIT the Contenders division that we're going to be watching, these teams are supposed to be close. I don't know enough about Ontario Tech B, but both teams are 2-2 right now on that leaderboard. So we should be expecting to see a close game here. From what you've seen in the FACEIT Collegiate so far, at least in this division, how would you rate kind of the skills of the teams from top to bottom from the matches they've played? Have things kind of been close, or does it seem to have kind of a gap across the division?
I would definitely say there's quite a gap, and just from our last week's match alone, we've played against a full Diamond Immortal team. So we've really seen a different
Okay.
spectrum, and unfortunately, there's not a really great way to scout to see what their rankings are, what they possibly could be. So we kind of go in every single match with the mentality that it could be that full Immortal team. So we need to come prepared every single week, ready to play at that level.
I did notice when I was looking into it, and I'm not sure if you have the specific answer that I'm and maybe the viewers are looking for this, but I noticed there was a Premier and a Contenders division. Is it a play-in sort of thing where you have to get a certain level of success in the Contenders division to make it to that Premier division, or do you give your skill ratings and say, all right, face it, do what you will, put it in their hands and see where they put you?
I'm not too familiar with FACEIT and
Mhm.
what they've done in the past, but from my experience with other leagues, and what usually happens is the Premier League or the top league for any tournament usually will select a small number of applicants, and that might
Mhm.
be full Radiant teams or full top 500 teams of whatever given game, and that might be anywhere from like 8 to 16 to maybe 32 teams, and after that there's a cutoff, and that's where you see, the immortal players and the diamond players, they start to trickle down into the next tier. And definitely that's what we've seen so far. We've seen some of these
Okay.
teams that are trickled down from that maybe Premier League, and we're just playing against them right now. So we don't really know what we could be expecting tonight. They could be a full immortal team. They could be, gold, plat, maybe diamond team, but we're still expecting a lot. So we wanna play at our best.
Well, I mean, the one thing we do know is that on paper, this should be a closer game. The both teams are 2-2 in this kind of widespread of a division. So hopefully we will see a good contest out there. And I wanted to ask you, I've been trying to keep up with patches for Valorant, but I don't think there's been any changes since last time. I know that there was some words from the devs that maybe we're seeing an increase to the price of the frenzy and other things we're looking for, but none of that has really come through yet. I also feel like I didn't see too much of that being used. Is that more of a, I guess, higher elo thing, or is that just the more of a point of comfort? Like if you're not used to using the frenzy, if you're not used to playing a more aggressive style with your pistols, you won't really be picking it up as often.
Yeah, I think right now, at least at our league and at our level, we're definitely more of a comfortability team. We want to play for that
Mhm.
comfort picks. If we want just the classic, then we're going to go with the classic with armor. Maybe we're going to go for utility early in the first couple of rounds. But that's really up to the players. I let them decide on that. They've been playing this game for quite a long time now. I mean, as soon as it's come out, so I let that judgment go to them for pistol rounds. But I agree with you. I think the frenzy and especially the stinger, a couple of cheap SMG guns, style guns that are just dominating the ranks right now. Whether it be solo queue or professional play, a lot of professionals are coming out and they're saying like these guns are too strong right now. Why
Mhm.
are we not banning these, or why are we not nerfing these guns? And I think it's a problem in the game, but we'll see if SNHU or Ontario Tech is going to be using them this game.
Yeah, I mean, shades of the CZ for sure from the time I spent watching CS in the past. But new things, maybe things that we that hadn't been utilized before. I know that I asked Snare specifically before. I was like, "Is Yoru available for play?" It seems like his kit. I mean, just the ability to utilize the teleporter, the echoes on the ground can play a lot of mind games there. Again, something I didn't really see. Has anyone on the team been trying him out, trying to kind of get the hang of him to maybe pull out something like that in the weekly tournaments that they're playing in year on?
We haven't been playing him too often, but it's definitely something I'm pushing for just because he does have that style of play. You can play him at the competitive level and maybe get some mind games going on. But we play again a comfortable game. We like to go
Mhm.
in with our Reyna, our Jets, our Phoenix, whatever that may be for our entries, and then we play our classic smokes, whether that be Brim or Omen. And from there, it's just a combination of a few Sentinels. And right now, Cypher used to be that meta pick. And right now we've seen that decline, but now we're looking more at the Killjoy, the Sage, and the Sage is kind of coming back up into meta. So that's primarily what we're looking to play. I would love to see a Yoru pick, maybe just out of nowhere
Maybe
kind of
they'll
pick.
pick
It's
it.
exactly maybe Ontario Tech will pick it. We'll see what team wants to utilize it, but I think he does have a very strong kit. You can definitely use it in competitive
Mhm.
play, and you can make use of a lot of his abilities.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything where you can fake sound in a game where audio is so important. Why I can't play it because I always keep one ear out of my headphones. But in a game where audio is so important, just being able to toy with that when, other than a decoy grenade in CS, it really hasn't been toyed with that often in the past. It can, of course, be a really powerful tool. But you mentioned comfortability, and I wanted to talk about that, or just general comfort. That's one of the reasons I like watching this collegiate play, because it can be a mixed match of ratings and skills across the board, but regardless, we get to see people play to their comfort, right? We get to see strategies come out that you won't see at the like super top professional T1 level. You're going to see some more unique things, and hopefully we'll see some unique strategies here on Split. Now I'm getting to find out what map it is for the first time, and how I know you mentioned me earlier, Split and Icebox were two you were hoping for, so it seems like you guys might be pretty happy where the maps ended up.
Definitely happy where it ended up. And for us, it was kind of that deciding factor. If it was Icebox, our comp could have looked completely different. We could have looked to have some of our other players come in on this map. But for Split, this is more of that comfort pick. We saw some of the lineup as before, same similar lineup, and we're looking to try to pick the same. The Sage, Killjoy pickups, where maybe we get the Sage wall mid again, where we have mid control
Mhm.
and we're able to take control of this map.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this map also got changed very recently, right? It had a lot of shifts on walls on site. How have you noticed any significant differences with how the map tends to lean since those everything's been kind of moved around and space has been opened up?
I think it helps both sides, honestly, and maybe
Mhm.
it's a small nerf to CT side. I know there's some corners that CT players could hide in a little deeper,
Choose your
but now
agent.
there's some curvatures in there that doesn't really allow you to sit as deep into those corners on some of these angles. But
Mhm.
a lot of the openings they've opened up. Mid has opened up quite a bit. B main has pretty much opened up, and garage is and pretty much every opening to the site has opened up. So I think it gives a clear shot for CT, but it also gives a wider area for T side to actually maybe get a smoke down, maybe try to push in his 5 or push in his 4, whatever they need to do to execute on the site.
I mean, no matter how much you open up that mid, though, Sage Wall is still going to be super impactful. We're going to see one picked up for both teams. A character that fell off a little bit in North America for a while at the highest level of professional play, but recent pickups, recent tournaments, the challengers games that have been going on, we've seen her coming out a lot more. And again, with the utility we saw in our last match on Thursday, just what Frenchie was able to do, complete swing around in how his game was going, just a lot more utility on this map in particular. Here, not as much of a mirror in the comps. We're seeing Brim come out from Ontario Tech. We're still running the Omen. I know we like that global presence, but you can control the center of the map with that Brim and be able to still get those smokes more or less anywhere your team needs them.
I agree. I think the Brim is a viable pick here. I know for Zoned at least, he loves that Omen. He's been playing that Omen for
Mhm.
almost an entire semester. So I think it's more so just he likes to play the Omen more. But I agree. I think Brim is an option on this map as well.
Yeah, weird to see the smoke here, locking them down off of the high ground is a small disengage. A trade here early, 4 versus 4 on site. Pistol round, it looks like being played rather aggressively from
Spike
Ontario Tech
planted.
as they have this. Wheezy is zoned out, and now we're in a retake situation. the Reyna. It looks like they're going to actually back off from this lane and kind of have everyone going in together. But Brimsmokes last quite a while. This upper area has already been locked down, and we might see an execute soon. Reyna throwing in the eye, forcing them back. That gets them a little bit more pressure on site. Frenchie goes for a duel, forces them back, but another trade here. He's using the heal on Reyna, keeping himself up, pulling all of those resources back in. They're going in one on site. Frenchie cleans up a second one.
Go.
There from Frenchie comes in. 2 more kills from them. Great play near the end, and he'll give him some extra creds there with the defuse.
That's awesome. That was a very well played. I think Ontario Tech definitely got onto site very quickly. Something that I talk with my players about a lot is just once you take site, you know, push for more, push for a little bit more space, get as much space as you can. Try to take, you know, maybe blinds if you can. Try to get into heaven if you can. And Ontario Tech kind of, you saw them just all filter onto site. They're all kind of stuck on site, and it gave SNHU the opportunity to group back together, get a retake going, and then execute on the same time where they were able to get back on site and defuse the bomb.
I mean, the eye pressure from Wheezy, I mentioned that during that push, just the Lear forcing them away, also just shut down that one lane. They could have caught Frenchie early, and then his push with the Frenzy on point wouldn't have happened anywhere near as effectively as it would have otherwise. But Frenchie here, walling early, it actually got broken immediately, so the reaction to the Sage a little bit better from Ontario than it was from Huntsville in their last match here. But pressure early, look at this, running in from the race. Blast Pack gets him in, lets the trade happen onto Frenchie, but Jade will get the kill in response here. Walking into point was the Reyna, caught down here by Snare, a number advantage towards SNHU, and they just gotta play this careful. They do not have the most important area on the map, which is mid, and a flashbang will get them trade out. Now, even numbers here. Weezy's on a deep lurk and might be able to find something.
I really liked the positioning of Snare there. Snare is usually a player that likes to play on A site, but I really enjoyed that deep cover on B site that he was playing.
Yeah, I think it was good for them, but the flashbang made things very difficult here. I like this from Zoned, actually, especially they have no idea what's right into them. Penetration kill on the Phoenix as well, too, for Zoned, getting them another round in a row. These 2 versus 2 retakes from SNHU are just too much for Ontario Tech so far to handle.
That was great heads-up play from Zoned. I think that was really unpredictable. Both players from Ontario Tech was watching the same angle, unfortunately. And I don't know if Zoned knew, but that was definitely a heads-up play. I think it could have been worse if both of them were watching that angle. But very nice play. That was just Valorant timing, as one would say.
I mean, you every time you look away from the angle, that's the one time it's going to be the most important, you know. But I don't think Ontario Tech's push there was really that bad. They managed to take mid. They traded a couple of kills for it, but I think you kind of have to expect to lose that war of attrition on a map where the defenders get to have that positioning for free basically in the beginning, and it will continue to be a priority for them as they stack up here in mid, locked out now by that dark cover.
I agree, and we see SNHU taking CT side first, and that's a huge advantage, I would say, having that early, if they can get that early lead and being able to, you know, win maybe 4, 5, 6 rounds on T side is much easier than if, you know, you have to play attacker side first, lose, and then go into CT afterwards.
The flash coming in will get the Phoenix himself killed if they do trade it out, so number advantage in mid, maybe looking a little better, but Zoned with a flank. Wheezy finds a second one as well, both of them trying to be aggressive in the back. Wheezy cleans up another, and only the Sage remaining here for Ontario Tech, and these teleports, these usage of them from Zoned has been great for letting him rotate. Jade, though, doesn't need that little bit of a distraction maybe that Zoned was able to get. He'll be able to clean up another one for them. And 3 straight for SNHU. I don't think it's surprising on defense on this map to be able to do that, as Jade just doesn't want that one in his hands, doesn't like his skin, wants his own even more. Wheezy on the Reyna, great performance so far. Map 1 just seems to be the best one for him, and he's probably happy this is a BO1 series.
Yeah, this is looking really strong for SNHU. I think, with like any game, winning pistol rounds is very huge. Winning first couple of rounds is very huge. You start the momentum for your team, and you're able to push it into the midpoint of the game. But definitely looking good for SNHU. They're able to save up that last round and keep their SMGs, but now they've bought up for their assault rifles.
Do you like the change up in offense here from Ontario Tech? Do you like the kind of, instead of all stacking mid, we're going to have a little bit of people in each angle and maybe just try to get a trade in this? Or do you think this isn't the right response?
I think if you're Ontario Tech, you're definitely looking at this you're saying, okay, we've just tried, 2, 3, 5-man executes, and it's not working. They're holding, we're getting our trades, but we're just not winning those last couple of 3v3s, 2v2s. So I think it's a good changeup. It's something for them to try and see if maybe we can get a pick, maybe they can get something else. But I don't mind their 5-man executes. They're getting on the site, they're doing everything right. It's just they got to win these situations that are 2v2, 3v3s.
And actually, I think it ended up being pretty good for them here as they got the high ground, but losing the duels on the flip side doesn't help anything. Jade will trade out Wheezy here and go for the defuse. It's just the Reyna, and she's fairly far off site. There's a couple people there. The Sage Wall actually might come in to help. They got to know he's coming, but they don't need to. The defuse will come in from Jade. She will rotate off at the point, but
no,
managing to clean up another. A little bit of a hit to the economy, but I mean, the economy on the side of Ontario Tech can't be feeling good after those rounds, but loser bonus probably helping a little bit at the moment.
Definitely. I think their economy is looking good after the loser bonus for sure. And unfortunately, I don't think that's the best for SNHU just because they did give up their SMGs there to buy up. So that probably hurt the economy there for Jade and the other player there.
Seems like they're doing okay, at least. They'll be able to fight this round. But I think if this round goes south, we're going to have some concern. Look at this, actually. This pressure. Everybody was waiting there. And the reaction, though, was there from zone to dark cover. They know that they're going to be there, and they can play this rotate. He saw every single person. We'll keep Snare back on the site just in case they make a deep rotation to mid, but Wheezy up here blinded, though. The Leer, great there, a second kill for them, and I mentioned that losing this round could be disaster, and 2 already for them. 3, even though Zone got that trade. The IGL is out, and the lurk maybe there on the timing as a 4th goes down. Mishy picks off Snare. It's going to be all down to Frenchie on the Sage here. They know where he is, so it's all down to duels with very low HP. This will not be an easy task for him. First one is not going to go his way. Mishy helps Ontario Tech get the first round on the board.
Not bad. I think that was a really good execute there from Ontario Tech. That flash definitely was a big factor in getting those first couple of picks for them on the site. And I think Frenchie had an opportunity there. If he got a pick, he still had ultimate. He could have been a 2v3 situation after that pick, but unfortunately they couldn't find the headshots there, so it did go to Ontario Tech.
And that's one of the downsides potentially of Reyna right there. I think if you had a different duelist, if you had a Jet holding that forward position, as soon as that Leer comes in, she might be able to dash away. She might be able to find cover. Reyna kind of has to have that snowball already. She has to have that bit to roll off of and actually get that initial space. But I talked about the economy damage. I mean, we're seeing stingers, we're seeing pistols. I think we were definitely right about that, and they're trying to play an aggressive game plan here, pushing in, trying to find an early kill. They lose one. It is traded back and forth. Another comes in for Ontario Tech, and SNHU have to back off. Another push might be coming in, but actually a plant is going on behind them at the B site. Weezy finds one, maybe can snowball in, but the Brimstone jam the music. MVP so far for Ontario finds another, and it's down to Jade on high ground on the Killjoy, trying to find something. I've actually never seen this skin before for this pistol. This actually looks really nice. That's like pure, straight up my aesthetic here, and hopefully it gives Jade the power to make this work.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the newer skins from Valorant, they're upping the game for skins, and a lot of these new ones, they're looking pretty nice. I don't know if I would use them myself, but unfortunately Jade does go down there, but the new skins are looking really nice. If you've seen the snow one, then that one's a good Winter Wonderland skin.
Well, we're hoping to get away from that. There's enough winter going on in the country right now as it is. Maybe I'll run the sunniest one I can possibly think of, but I wanted to mention this. I had a little pop-up in my ear. I think I should tell you. We now know the ranks of the team, right? Do we have an idea of the ranks of Ontario Tech? I know we were talking about potential big disparity across the division before. Do we have an idea of how close this matchup is supposed to be?
I'm not entirely sure what the ranks are. That's not something that's usually given just from the players joining lobby. Usually you have to friend them, you have to look at their individual ranks, but just from gameplay alone, it looks like they're a well-coordinated team. Whether they're gold, plat, or diamond team, they're definitely going in and they're executing very well for their levels. So I think they're looking like a strong team right off the bat for sure.
In comparison, though, I mean, if they're looking about equal to SNHU is ranked around.
Oh, currently SNHU, we're about a high plat, low diamond average for our team.
Yeah, and teamwork can definitely help shore up any things if the ranks end up being potentially lopsided there, and teamwork's been, I think, helping both teams here quite a bit so far. Snare coming up right through the smoke, does not know someone crossed by him. just a moment ago, but now ready to do it. The Reno is not ready. Snare picks up his third for the round. Got every kill for SNHU, has been on the back of Snare, 3 versus 2, so number advantage in their favor. Boombot in the hand of Snare, hoping to find somebody with that. At least he'll get some information, because the Boombot will go to chase them down, knows that somebody's mid, and that could be info for Wheezy to potentially rotate off of. But now there's plenty of audio for him to play off of too. Snare picks up his 4th of the round, and an ace still in the cards for him, but it looks like Zoned might be taking that away with the way this is going here. Jam, though, might not be ready. Zoned actually the one not ready there. 1 versus 2 for Jam the Music on the Brimstone, rotating over to A. They know he's here. They know he doesn't have a ton of time, but Spike planted right in the open. Give them a chance to execute this. They just have to make sure they take the fight together.
Thought that was really well played from Ontario Tech there. Played it really slow, played it without any sound, and Zone wasn't looking great pickup there for Wheezy though. That was an awesome play. Good trade for Wheezy, but again, I think Zone just was caught off guard there in the vents and didn't understand that he could have been rotating through there, or if he just wasn't looking down.
I just think they were missing a lot of information. They knew that one person was in mid, but they didn't necessarily know that the stack was there. They didn't know if maybe they had been in the middle of a trick play and hadn't caught him. So Zone got that information, and that was what helped Wheezy and Snare react properly, even if Snare wasn't able to finish off the ace that I'm sure he was hoping he was going to be able to get here. But economy looking all right for them. Jade might be a little bit underbought here, but I think the Bucky will maybe help them with a forward close hold here. And rotation actually out of mid. Frenchie coming to wall off the B site instead, but it's the wrong call. Everyone on Ontario stacked over on A.
I like the changeup though. I like how SNHU's making some changes here, not playing too predictable, but it looks like Ontario Tech is gonna try to go for A heaven here.
Yeah, I like this rush. It gives them an ability to rotate into mid too if they want it, because no one is there from the info that they have here. Lear actually blinds them for a moment. They now know there's a lot of people there. The amount of sound cues coming up there is insane, but an execute onto the A site might be in the cards. Not a single person over on the other side of the map, but now they're down rifles. Now that Bucky's going to hurt a little bit, but it's going to hurt Scott more. Walks right into the range, gets them a pick here, but they need to split their retake. I think a lot of them are on the same angle. Someone needs to make another lane held here, but the Killjoy ultimate, one picked up by Snare. It's all down to Frenchie here. Frenchie does find one versus 2, and that Killjoy ult could still go off. It's forcing them back. Frenchie could maybe take sight off this.
And Frenchie still has ultimate. He can look for the res here. He does look for it. And I'm pretty sure Ontario Tech is low. They don't have much health.
And Spike's not planted, so they can make something happen off this. They do manage to get it with the run it back and run away. Flank though comes in, should be a traded kill. Was Frenchie out of ammo? He ran him down, tried to swap to the pistol in his face. But give the round to Ontario. It still would have been a difficult clutch for him with full health Phoenix waiting in the wings. But the wings were clipped here for them. SNHU losing another round there to Ontario Tech, whose executes are looking pretty clean as the rounds go on.
I agree, and I think we talked about it before. Their executes are looking clean, and they weren't doing too well with their 2v2 situations, their 3v3 situations, but their 2v2 looked great. And even though they were on low health, that was a really aggressive play, I think, from one of their players, and SNHU just was caught off guard by it.
Yeah, and another half buy from SNHU, and I think not having all the weapons that they'd want might make things a little more difficult. He knew he was there, could not take the shot, though, from Zoned as another person gets picked off on the side of SNHU. Great just kiting from Raina here, from Shu, just getting completely off of that site. Snare holding close with the shorty, hoping that someone will push in. He hears a lot of sound, but unable to really clean up anybody. Lack of range, punishing him significantly there. Mishi, the Rays on the other side, manages to pick that one off. Just 2 remaining. Definitely don't want to spend any ultimates or anything here. I think you're just looking to maybe damage their economy a little bit more. Misses the first shot from the Sheriff, giving the Rays the 3rd kill for them here, and it's all down to Zoned, all with the Frenzy, and not a lot of hope here potentially left. We'll spend something, just get a little bit of ground, but you're just looking for exit frags, I think, at this point if you're Zoned.
Yep, and he already looked to see if he got one for himself there. But yeah, I agree. I think just looking for exits, looking for a gun, which Zone does have, and he's probably just looking to save at this point.
Yeah, and maybe you can get another, but you definitely want to hold on to this rifle. He does get one more kill, but probably should start making a quick rotation here. They know where you are. He knows someone's going to be waiting for him, but doesn't see the angle. We talked about Valorant timing earlier. That was definitely a great way to see it there, with the Reyna coming right around through that upper side. And I think economy maybe could be fine here, but really wanted that gun to supplement it a little bit.
Absolutely. And Right now, Ontario Tech, they're doing a really good job for losing the first, what, 3, 4 rounds of this game, and now coming back. They're looking really strong. The momentum has now swung towards them, and SNHU needs to find a way to come back in this game. They both are able to full buy this round, and this is going to be a really important round to determine who's going to be taking the momentum possibly into the second half of this game.
I mean, it's the power of the pistol, right? SNHU managed to have that momentum carrying with them, and now the executes from Ontario are kind of helping them sway it the other way. Look at this, just absolute death ball. The slowest, most silent death ball coming in here from Ontario, rotating it into A heaven, as you called before. But Frenchie has the delay, even if he's in the smoke now. He's slowing them down and giving his team time to rotate. Zoned, I like how he's staying on that B side, because he has the ultimate. He can rotate. He can do that teleport whenever they need, and it's, I think, all about the duels, whoever takes that fight first, and how well Ontario can trade it in response.
Agreed. And right now, Ontario, nice pickup there from Zone, but they're just looking for space. They're trying to create some space, trying to get behind some of SNHU's players, and they're looking to maybe do so as they pick up one at elbow.
They lose a little bit of health for it, though, and the Phoenix, you see, peeks with his gun still not loaded, and having that Call of Duty 3 bullets missing kind of itch there in the back here. Jade, though, does overpeak on point, gets kicked down 2 versus 3, make it 1 versus 3. Frenchie hoping to find something, but positioning is fantastic. From Ontario, they had all the angles covered, even with Zoned doing that huge ult rotation, getting a great flank, getting a great initial pick. They had to surround, but that high ground positioning just proved too valuable.
Yep, and that's 2 rounds now that we've seen Ontario Tech push into A heaven. Now they've basically just made that their bunker. As soon as they push in there, they hold, and they're maybe, pushing for a little bit more space, trying to find a few picks, but they're definitely able to swarm A side after that. Once they get A heaven control, they're pretty much the world's their oyster, because they can practically go mid through vents. They could go through A side if they want to. They have a lot of options by taking that positioning there.
And I do like how they're just continuing to execute here on A, whether it be in heaven, whether it be somewhere else. They're just recognizing the weaknesses, and Frenchie's trying to shore up those weaknesses. Quick rotation now by the Sage to catch them from rope room moving into heaven, because they've been executing there consistently over and over. But 2 people stacked on the back of site. They're starting to realize maybe the MO of Ontario, but it's still going to come down to the aim duels. It's still going to come down to how close they are. Frenchie's not playing at a good distance for this. Bucky and Shu on the Reyna. Wheezy and Zoned both taken down. A third following. No way to trade at that range. Bucky's in hand is going to make this incredibly difficult, especially with Snare at 9 HP. Can't find the mid-range Sheriff. I mean, it's doable, not impossible, but seemingly it will be. Jade falls, and another round in a row for Ontario Tech.
Last round.
Yep, and that was another, I think, I don't know if that was a half buy or a force buy there from SNHU, but that could really hurt the economy if so. No. Okay, so they were able to full buy here, so it was a half buy.
Yeah, I mean, it would have hurt them, I think, but they managed to save enough. They knew that this is the final round. It's going to be the most important here. Got to remind you guys, even if this is an important game, no matter what, this is a best of 1 series. If this is done, it is over. No way to potentially redeem in later maps down the line. So every round, every gunfight matters maybe just a little bit more here. Looking at the stack, it's another hard stack on A site, but we're seeing someone lurking in mid. I like that adaptation here from Shu on the Reyna, saying, hey, someone might just rotate really quickly. I can kill them, but heads up play by Frenchie, keeps the wall there, but there's a lot of utility coming down in heaven, and Zone is going to be under a lot of pressure very soon.
And I like this spot that Zone's playing. I think if he just plays in this corner, waits for them to maybe push up to A heaven, doesn't get the pick there. I think maybe could have played a little bit more defensive, but looks like they're going to go towards B instead.
Just having the audio would have been so much good info, but and unfortunately, going for the duel, not able to take that one. Quick, immediate retake on B site. They all rotated because of the A take again, and it tricked them. It pulled them off, and now Plant is going down. Retake scenario for SNHU, and we want to see them taking a couple different angles, but look at the raise. Look at this long rotation through mid that the Ontario Tech raise is going to be able to do. That might be positioning they're not necessarily ready for. The blast pack at the showstopper in will get Brimstone. Music's there. They see him. Another kill for Snare. Great flank and angle taken by him. Frenchie trying to get that, but high ground, they know he's there. Grenade goes in. They just get the defuse, though.
Nice.
No one pushes in enough. The utility is burned in just the right way and lets them have it. Rez comes in, doesn't really matter. That round's over. They're going to get a reset, and SNHU are going to get their first chance here to attack.
I think that was very well played there from SNHU, able to use the Killjoy ult to gain some space, push onto site, and force Ontario Tech back into Garage. And then once that happened, the Sage Orb there, this low into B main through garage was huge. That was able to give Jade enough time to just defuse that bomb for free.
It was a really bold play, too. He took a lot of damage doing that peek. I mean, that could have been him being dead, but even if he was dead, it would have won them the round. Just getting that slow there, spending the utility in that way, really ended up helping them here in the long run. And we talked earlier about the power of the pistol, how much influence that can give you on the flow of the game as you go. It's going to be difficult, I think, if they don't manage to win this pistol round on the side of SNHU, or even on the side of Ontario. Both teams really are going to put a lot of pressure on it, but the early poke goes the way of Ontario. Snare knocked all the way down to 12 HP.
Yeah, this is a really close game. 6-6, and for SNHU, who has 2 Sentinels on their team, they want to look to play towards CT, and they got their first round CT, but they weren't able to get a defining lead early. It might be really tough here for SNHU to try to take sites without maybe the additional utility that they would have otherwise if they had not taken 2 Sentinels.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But I mean, you can see on the other side, they have a similar style there. Look at this run onto the site, though. They immediately burn down Shu the Reyna, the top fragger so far for Ontario. They get a plant down. That is going to be some creds if they make it happen. Actually, good damage from Wheezy, but the damage was traded both ways as they play back. Just got to protect the spike if they lose the main anchor there, Wheezy, who was in that corner. It's down to zone. That Sage Wall pressure, though. Great jump from Mishi to get onto that. They will get this diffused, and they'll get the round for Ontario Tech. Pistol round, again, we mentioned, can be very important. Will give them a bit of a lead, but a couple frags and an economy boost might not make it as bad on the other side.
Yeah, it's true, and I think from that round alone, winning pistols, I would say is more of an advantage for whatever team that has the opportunity to win. But SNHU, we saw they got plant down. They had a great wall off to the side from Sage Wall. They had great positioning. They could have played that round very similar to how Ontario Tech did before, and just send a few to garage, have a couple play backside of in the corner, and then just use their frenzies, use their pistols, and just clear angles. But I think SNHU got a little too aggressive. They started peeking towards heaven. They started peeking towards on site. They could have played a little bit more back, and potentially had played a better round there afterwards.
I just want to mention really quick, I actually love how they're set up on the side of Ontario Tech. They played this A-Heaven strategy so much, they're going to be stacked there because they know how effective it can be, and effective it is. 3 kills already for them. Snare does get 1 trade, but the advantage is heavily in the favor of Ontario right now. Snorb actually gets eaten by that, so some utility maybe misfired. Could give them a chance here, as Snare is just trying to hold on this point, but the paint shells, they force him away, has to use his own in response, but all the angles are covered by Ontario Tech from the high ground. It's just up to Jade, and he's just kind of trying to slip away, maybe get to B, but it looks like they might already be privy to that with the rotation clearing out everything that they can. And he doesn't know who's close. He can't run because he might give his position away, and he will now with how quickly they were able to rotate on the side of Ontario. Could be a duel here right now, but the SMG advantage for them swings that their way. Ontario Tech with another round on the board.
That was very unfortunate there for SNHU. I think for Snare to push in there, they didn't check that corner. I thought that was a really well played corner from Ontario Tech there on site, just hiding behind an off angle there. But yeah, they did a great job there of holding A Heaven prepared for that A push, because they kind of expected, they won't be first round to work. They might go A second round. So great prediction there from Ontario Tech. They definitely nailed them on that defensive side.
I think SNHU was thinking about their defensive setup, and they didn't really tend to have somebody playing on that angle. It was Wheezy usually holding close on high to try to keep that kind of held in their hands here. But Brimstone early lockdown on mid. This isn't as long as a Sage Wall, or as, forcing you to go in and give away your position and go through it. So they could push the smoke depending on how they're feeling. And another one comes in after that, kind of in response to what I'm saying, buying a little bit more time. You can wait it out, but time is money. You need to have the time to get your executes to do everything that you need to do to make that space happen. Boombot's going to clear mid potentially here, but it's a very slow start to this, except for the pick onto Frenchie, maybe 2 forward, and they can't. That's a pick they're not going to be able to recover from. But look at this. They don't see the Reyna shoe flanking on the side. They might not be ready for it. A second one for him, dismissed, lets him kite around zone. Might be ready for it, but a second one lets him rotate away, gets that second trade. Scott cleans up 2 more, and Ontario Tech, the delay on mid gave them so much time to set up. SNHU just waited and did not let their plan happen.
Yeah, I think they really needed to have someone there, at least watching from Sewers. I mean, Zoned did it himself, during on CT side,
Mhm.
had a great flank from Sewers as Ontario Tech was trying to play through mid. And same thing happened there. SNU looking to play slow through mid, trying to get maybe a pick, maybe trying to find somebody. But great job from Ontario Tech there. Putting the molly down, putting the smokes down, not really letting them push, and then having your flankers just play slow, wait for their opportunity, and take the free kills as soon as they see.
It lets you see the power, I think, of that Brimstone. Just the amount of time he can buy while still having that molly to force you out. Just some general good utility there. It seems like they know where they're coming from. Boombot might give them some information, and it getting destroyed definitely gives them that. Look at this reaction from Ontario. Everyone is making this rotation. Gonna be hard to pull a fake at this point with how stacked in Garage on B side all of SNU is, but I mean, an early duel could help swing things their way, and actually the time that they're waiting is making everyone else think that they might be going somewhere else. Ontario's backing off.
I think this is a smart play from SNU. I think a lot of teams, when you know somebody's there, you have the full rotate come. But SNU acting like they might have just walked away. Ontario Tech doesn't know for sure. They don't know if they might have left through Garage here, and it forces kind of Ontario Tech to say, "Wait a minute, they might go back." But nice option there, forced.
Yeah, usually the utility here is actually denying anybody really from being able to peek in zone. I like the potential take on this high ground. They don't know that he's there quite yet. Dark cover definitely helps quite a bit there in a 1-for-1 with the Reina falling on the side of Ontario. Zone might get aggressive here. Could have had that angle held. Does get one, but loses his life in the process. Phoenix UC finds Frenchie there as well. Stinger lets them get a kill on that aggressive push, and the Killjoy ultimate means they have to win this fast, or at least clean this up. Reload might be poorly timed. No way of knowing that could have happened, and it's a 1-versus-1. Where is the push going to come from here? The ultimate goes off, does not end up catching the Phoenix, who has the high ground, but he has to make it to the spike. It's planted, though, in a way that he can't really defend it. He might have to go back to the site. The Nanites buys at least a little bit of time, but he has to make a move soon, and he'll be able to heal himself. He definitely hears this happening, and Jade pushes in, finds the kill, and the first round on the attack, honestly, that Snoop managed to get, even if he loses his life for it.
Very well played there from Jade. I thought that was, I didn't even see the nano bomb there, but that was a great IQ play from him, just waiting for that nano bot to just clear up, try to make sure that Phoenix wasn't planting, and then come in as soon as the last second comes down for the bomb, and able to get the free pick there.
I didn't see the initial nanites placed on the ground, so when it started eating, I was worried at first. I was like, Jade, you got to move, buddy. You got to make something out there, but great use of the utility, I think, as mentioned, to make that as good as possible. And a similar take, they're going to reuse the same plan that worked as well for them last time, but this time I assume they got to switch up the pace at least a little bit. They're going to be ready for it, but what they don't know is that the site is literally completely empty. Every member of Ontario have rotated over to mid. Only now do they retake Heaven, but they're waiting all this out, and now they're willing to spend Brim utility over here because they have the read. Ontario, they wanted to buy even more time away from SNU, and we'll see how they react with their members on the A side.
Yeah, and that's things that we go over in VODs, and we say, you had the opportunity to push here, but there's no way to know. There's no way to know for sure if the entire team's going to push mid and try to get space mid, and you don't know that, site's completely free. So it's one of those things where we look back in the VODs and we say, oh, well, we kind of laugh and giggle it off where we could have got a freebie here, but still, not a bad play there from Ontario Tech, looking for something mid. And I think this is a nice change up here from SNU. They're acting like they went towards B, but now they're going fast towards A.
Yeah, and this is a kind of a mix-up, huge mix-up of what happened last time. Honestly, look at that blast back aggression from Snare, lands right on the radar with the showstopper as well, plus the wall-off coming from the side of CT Spawn duel. Not won by Frenchie, but it's delayed at the very least, and the plant will come in as well, but the picks are actually going the way of Ontario. They do spend the res, as they do on the other side, but it's right in the open. Frenchie will pick off the Phoenix. No way to get his own life extender really out there. They do walk in Frenchie, another early headshot helps that duel stay on their side. The positioning is not bad for Ontario, but it's going to have to be a lot of powerful aim duels, and they're not winning them right now. Snare picks up another Scott there on the Sage. They must know where this Brim is, I think, from earlier. Frenchie definitely has an idea. They have to get ready to maybe back off from the side as the spike gets closer, but they don't need to. Frenchie gets a third kill in a row for him, picking himself up from where he had been there on the scoreboard and letting SNU get another attacking round in a row.
Very nice 3K there from Frenchie, and I think that was a really risky play. I had to revive Snare right in the middle of sight, but luckily the other Sage also revived at the same time. But I think Frenchie had the heads up play and saw that the Sage was using her res too and got the free kill on the person getting res.
It was just a difference in coverage, right? I mean, both teams rezzed in the same spot at the same time, but there was 2 more guns on SNHU trained on the upper area as opposed to the other way around where it was just the Sage who could have maybe gotten the trade frag. Decent read here, actually, though, from Ontario. They get that wall early. They're still playing a lot of utility in mid, but now SNHU are looking to go this way. They could play a rotation. Zone is definitely going to be wary of that Stewar's lurk now from what happened in one of the earlier attacking rounds that they had. And hey, look, it's going to be the exact same person, the Reyna, thinking about doing it, but it looks like it might be an even longer T-spawn play.
Yeah, I think this is kind of smart from Ontario Tech here, not really going towards sewers. Kind of knows that SNHU knows that they could come through here, and they have a very good flank here, really nice position.
I didn't want to. That one was so good. I didn't want to talk over it. Zone catches the Reyna looking at the wall, trying to just kind of get her bearings together, and they manage to get on site. The Leer is used, and the teleport from Zone will let him reposition onto the high ground. Another good take here on this A site, and B. The A seemed like a weakness for Ontario Tech, and it seemed like a weakness for SNHU, excuse me, and it seems like it could be a similar weakness for Ontario Tech, just done in a very different way.
That was, I have no idea what was happening there. Great pickup there from Snare, but they had the huge flank, and I don't understand why they were looking at the wall there at the last second, but it was a nice pickup for SNHU, and I think that definitely was a factor in potentially winning this round now that it's a 5v1 situation.
And Mishy's had good rounds before, but Stinger with this breaking into a firing squad, literally should have been blindfolded, honestly, for that situation. Wheezy picks up that one. No deaths on the side of SNHU, so the economy gets to stay exactly the same. And they end up tying it up, so a great comeback here. This seems to be kind of the story on these rounds. Early good start for the defending team, and then the attackers just find a way to dismantle.
Yeah, and I think this is really the proving point here for SNHU. Ontario Tech definitely was able to kind of dissect the defense from SNHU, and I think SNHU's doing the same thing here for Ontario Tech, finding out what their weakness is, maybe going towards that A heaven, maybe going towards that A site, and figure out how are we going to win this round? How are we going to plant the spike and maybe look for a few picks to win the round?
Yeah, and just being able to dismantle that and adapt through the round definitely shows mental fortitude from either team. Both teams were able to do it, so props again to both. But some early guns trained there on upper A, unable to pick off Jam on this Brim, and this could be a fake. Look at this rotation. If SNHU want to make it happen, they have to do it quickly because we know that Ontario are willing to back off from that, but it looks like there might be another firing squad sort of situation. Wonder who's in sewers. Scott actually does get one, and we'll see if they can get the follow-up walled up. It's snared and lets him get the kill on Snare. Reyna in the back. Great play from Scott, actually. 3 in response. Scott might have just saved this for them. A Snare, though. 3 for himself. It's going to be a 2 versus 2. The health not really there. Health for SNHU. Snare very low HP, and they're going to have to figure out a way to make this work, and they kind of have a read on the positioning here. The Phoenix, you see, rotated in to the upper area on A, and the rest of it is going to be clear. They don't necessarily know this, but they're playing with that level of confidence as they rotate in to get their plant on site.
That was a great scene of events there. I think very well played from Ontario Tech Sage. They're able to get the pick, and it looked like he was just going to get picked right away, but that was a great 3K from both him and Snare.
Huge aggression coming in with the showstopper that was in there, and 2 low HP for Snare to make it happen. 30 health. UC was able to make it work there, but they did use some ultimates. They were able to use the showstopper. They used the run it back, so lighter on ultimate utility there, but SNHU are kind of running bone dry at the moment as it is. Snare's round was able to get him a showstopper of his own, but that alone won't win you around, and Ontario Tech will be able to kind of slowly use their utility for the few rounds that remain, whether it goes into overtime or not.
Definitely. I think right now SNHU has to be thinking of, it's going to be the last, potentially 4 or 5 rounds here that we could look to have, and they need to build up their ultimates. They need to try and get maybe 1 or 2 Killjoy ultimates off to kind of define and take over these rounds if they want to be able to plant on a site and take these rounds accordingly.
I like this rotation over to A, that it's been a place that the plant has gone down from SNHU a couple rounds in a row, so pull the Brim away. They have the Sage to buy time in mid if it's necessary, but it's a very split offense from SNHU here. When you play around like this, what is the end goal? I mean, is it just picking off someone being dummy aggressive, or is there a more specific find the weakness and rotate to it kind of planned in mind?
I think when you play slow and you kind of play for these picks, you're really trying to, it's about getting that space. It's about, how aggressive and slow can I play until, they finally give, until the buckle finally breaks. And
Mhm.
they're really just trying to find, that heads up pick or something where they can take one pick and say, okay, everybody go, go, go. We're going to go on a site and we're going to take site here because you have that numbers advantage at that point.
Is this a Killjoy ultimate being used for a fake? A complete and total fake? This is a very interesting, something I haven't seen, but maybe I just haven't watched enough professional Valorant. Someone seems to know, though. They're staying up there. You see on the Phoenix holding in the dark cover. Definitely hears it. Now the rotation comes in, but the site is theirs. Not with the Brims. Orbital Strike coming down, though. They will get the plant down maybe a little bit further to the side than they wanted, and a little bit later, of course, but to figure this out, Paranoia and in up, actually dark cover, excuse me, went in up top. Slow push there in the slow, but unable to follow that up. Looking for them, though. Frenchie has the heal and will be able to stay healthy for the duels to come. Zoned, great positioning up top. They have to be careful for that lower area. The blast back, though, he hits the top of the frame and lands point blank with a gun barrel facing him down. But a lot of kills coming in from the stage. Scott makes it happen, and so does Shu. Walking in with the op cleans up a lot in Ontario Tech. Even though I think it was a brilliant start to that from SNHU, the gun skill definitely came in clutch for them in the end.
Yeah, I think that was actually a really nice fake play there from SNHU, and that's something that we see them do. Maybe once every game, maybe once every other game, is they put in that fake. It's such a valuable ultimate. If you're the other team, you're thinking they have to be coming on a site, they have to be using that, say, gain space on a site, but it's a fake, and I think it was a great play. They were able to take site fairly easily, get the spike down, but unfortunately they weren't really able to get blinds control. They weren't able to get heaven control after seeing Ontario Tech, stay there and have that player play there. And they knew from the sound that SNHU was coming towards A site.
Man, I gave you a layup there, Sutan. You said, oh, they do this fake maybe once a game. You could have said, oh, they do that fake all the time. And then anybody who scouts you is going to be worried about that every single time a Killjoy goes down. You could have had it all, but we let it go.
I might have just faked you there. Who knows? We don't know for sure.
The team is just all fakes from start to finish, but hoping to make something real happen in the last couple rounds that we have going on here. The restacking in mid, though, will make this mid play, I think, very difficult for SNHU with the way they're playing, and it looks like they have the read on it. Scott is going very deep there in B garage, but calls it off, backs off, and still, though, SNHU have to find a way to break through all the guns that are going to be bearing down on them if they push up in mid.
Definitely. I think that was a very composed play. A lot of players, they get that positioning garage. They kind of push for more. They kind of get a little greedy, and they want to find something maybe in CT. Nice pickup there from Ontario with the op, but that was, I think, a really nice heads-up play from Ontario to give up that space back and understand, okay, they're not in garage. Let's at least give that information to my team and still use my life to maybe get a pick here if they choose to go in.
30 seconds left.
Playing for info and not being greedy really does show discipline and solid teamwork here. The dark cover seems a little bit deep because that Sage is still able to cover this, and there it is. Scott with the angle does find Snare. Does get traded, though. Rough timing, I think, for a reload there on Scott. And the second one, Wheezy picks off Mishi on the raise. So 3 on site. It's going to be a 3 versus 3 retake situation for Ontario. I think they just need Zone to play so patient. I feel like every time someone's in that corner for SNHU, they take a push that maybe kind of costs them that defense.
Exactly, and I think if they sit here, watch their angles, they should be fine. They should be able to pick these up.
We'll see if they can pick it up, but the combat state is going to make those duels very difficult to win. Wheezy does get 1, Wheezy gets 2, Wheezy gets a 3rd in a row, 4 kills in a row. Wheezy on that defense, very difficult play for him to make, but the timing on those fights, not perfect from Ontario, and sometimes when you're playing against someone that's having a round like that, you got to be perfect.
Yeah, and I thought that was really well played from Ontario. SNHU had the crossfire from Zoned and Frenchie on site. They were able to get a pick there, but Ontario did clean up. They got both Zone and Frenchie, and it was just Wheezy left. But really nice play from Wheezy. Nice show gun skill there, and he was able to pick up the two kills there to win the round.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why tactical shooters in these games in general are so great, right? You have great executes. You can feel like you're in an unwinnable situation, and then you do that. Right? Yeah, stuff like that really is what makes these games so beautiful. A lot of creative expression with smokes and flashes, and definitely love to see these games thriving here. Empress, used by Wheezy, definitely trying to push that that vibe he had going from the last round as they do cling to the site. Rim does make it away, but they have some info. The info they're lacking right now, though, is that Sewers rotation 2 coming in from behind, and A pick from them now means they have less people to worry about what's coming in behind. This has to happen ASAP, but a third kill for the Brim up top. Jam the Music is having a great round, and I feel like it's getting even more difficult as they close in. The pincers are closing right now. Zone gets one, but it's not going to be enough. The kills from Ontario were too much, and that great rotation by them pushing all the way through mid puts them here on match point.
Yeah, and Wheezy was just unlucky there. Just a couple of players in his crosshair that just hid behind a wall at that very last second. Maybe a flash, maybe stopped Wheezy from being able to fire at that last second. But I think SNHU maybe rushed it just a little bit too much there, and they weren't able to really check a lot of their angles, check towards heaven to make sure it was free to come onto site, check towards blinds. But really nice round there from Ontario Tech.
I think it's part of them trying to up the pace to maybe deal with that Brim a little bit, because I feel like the Brim is buying a ton of time for them. Audio cues seem to be giving Ontario a bit of information here as they pull the Brim back to drop that smoke in mid. His positioning right in the middle of A heaven has been very difficult, I think, for SNHU to deal with, whether it's him winning a gun duel or it's just him being able to put smokes literally everywhere in the way. Paint Shell's not able to find anything on that spam in mid. There's still 3 guns here, but they maybe need someone playing a little bit more up in garage. They could have a duel here against Mishi if they want to take it, but SNHU playing a little bit more cautious. They're watching that sewers flank instead. It's just tough when they make the opposite decision. You're not going to always have that info, and you make a call to watch an angle, even if the other one's the one that gets aggressively pushed.
Yeah, and I think SNHU's maybe understanding that next round is the last round, potentially the last round. If they lose this round, they lose the match this week. And their record's no longer 2-2. It's going to be 2-3. So they're probably playing a little bit more safer here, worried that they could potentially lose it. But that safe play hasn't shown to be worthwhile so far. Now it's a 2v5 situation.
I mean, we saw Wheezy do something similar here, but 1v5 going to be incredibly difficult. Ontario Tech, not a single death there, and I think the way that they controlled the map, fantastic, very hard for SNHU to deal with. They had some stellar rounds coming from them, but Ontario Tech, man, if this is their B team, I'm kind of terrified to see what their A team is going to be looking like.
Exactly. I think if their B team is this coordinator, their A team must be on an insane.
They're literally the A team. They have Mr. T. They have every single person, old celebrities. They're playing to get all that practice in. But I called Jam the Music the MVP for Ontario Tech earlier in the round. Clearly, as the game went on, that changed because Shu on the Reyna really woke up, I think, after some of those initial rounds that SNHU was able to win.
Definitely, and I think when you look at SNHU's composition, they lean towards more CT side team comp, and they want to win that 8-9 rounds on CT and then push to that that T side where they only need 4 or 5 rounds left to win the match. So I think when it didn't go their way and it was 6-6, it makes the game so much harder for SNHU, and they were able to keep with Ontario Tech there, where they were tied 9-9, 10-10. But unfortunately, they just gave up a few too many rounds there, I think, at the end. And Ontario Tech was definitely able to hold their defense in order for them to win the game there.
I feel like this is going to be a great match to watch back for SNHU in particular, because I feel like just seeing how Ontario decides to execute, how some of their defenses were kind of picked apart, could, I think, help quite a bit on split, because Ontario clearly had a lot of game plans in mind, and they were very quick to react. I think that was the biggest thing that I took away from watching their gameplay. When something happened, when a piece of utility was burned, I felt like I'd look at the minimap and I'd see just some of the fastest rotations. You'd see people were just hauling it over to where that happened to make sure they were there to support their team.
Yeah, and some situations that can be bad if you use your information right. If you use maybe fake footsteps or fake a fake plant, just like we saw the.
You're saying the Yoru would have been a good choice? Is that
I don't know if that, but maybe if you send just one person, maybe 2, and just say like, hey, we're thinking about potentially going towards A, but then you have the other 3 that are in garage that are ready to explode onto site as soon as the rotation happens. So I think there's a lot of mind games that could have been played there, especially for a team like Ontario Tech that's rotating so quickly. But it's impossible to know after one game. It's really tough to know in a best of 1 situation where you don't have your coach or your 6th man or some other player that's saying, this is what they consistently did. This is the type of team they are. And that's tough in a 1-game series. But nonetheless, I think both teams played really well there, and we saw it as how close that game was.
Yeah, for sure. I think both teams had definitely great moments. Ontario, of course, even though they came out above in the end, SNHU I think had some solid plays. I mean, I was able to yell about Wheezy again, and I'm sure he's going to be happy about that one. I already heard myself in a frag clip once this week. I'm not sure how necessarily ready I am to hear myself again
Hmm.
yelling about Wheezy. But moving forward, I know how much time have you guys had maybe to look at your matchup tomorrow? I know that there is a game a little bit later. I think just got rescheduled. But do you have any info going into the Vara match we're going to be playing in the next couple days?
A little bit of info, a little bit of scouting. I don't want to give too much away just
Of
in
course.
case they're watching, but it should be a pretty good matchup.
Mhm.
Our players should be ready, and we're going to be going over preparation for them tomorrow once that time comes. And I think this is going to be a good warm up for them, a good key game where they look back and they say, okay, what mistakes did we make? What can we improve for tomorrow? And hopefully we're able to improve those mistakes by then.
And do you know how long this Face It League is going to be going on? I know that it's been already going for a couple of weeks, but is this something that's going to be running concurrent all the way through the rest of our weekly broadcast for the semester?
I believe at least for I want to say 8 to 10 more weeks, but that's really dependent on how far we go and how far we can keep going once playoffs comes around.
Okay, yeah, well, we'll see how long that season can go. Hopefully, as long as possible, because we want to win here on this new esports stream. I think that would be pretty much a given. But hopefully, we've given you enough Valorant content today. But if you're still hungry for more tomorrow, there should be another matchup. Keep an eye on our official Twitter page. You can do !Twitter in the chat to get any more info on that. !Discord too. If you want to join our Discord, get in with the community, talk to everybody. We just got those set up, so want to see some of you guys all getting involved with us. Thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight. I have been Kresnik.